Case 1. Redesigning ugly cartoons. Subject 1. Problem Solverz with a Z. Problem Solverz aired in 2011 and has lived in infamy as one of the worst and ugliest cartoons ever. It was originally pitched to Adult Swim under the title Neon Gnome, but they told creator Ben Jones that it was too cute, so he was referred to Cartoon Network. It ran for 13 episodes and got canceled for melting people's brains, apparently. For research, I watched several episodes of Problem Solverz to understand why it was the worst. Overall, it was an assault on the senses. I didn't find it super funny, and I didn't particularly like the characters, but I came away each episode wanting to see what new monstrosity would appear next. The background art reminds me of the old ugly websites in the early 2000s, which, it's kind of nostalgic in a way, but personally I think it would have worked better as a trippy Adult Swim show. I enjoyed the Neon Gnome pilot much more than any of the official Cartoon Network episodes I watched. Forcing a show like this to have a narrative structure, I think, is a disservice to its unique artistic vision. Okay, that said, the characters are ugly. They've got these big, bugged out eyes, these square lips that are way too close to their noses, and what is this hair? What are these outfits? What is this thing supposed to be? So I started my redesign with Alfie. In the show, he's a big brown thing that's loud and likes food. According to creator Ben Jones, he's supposed to be a combination of a man, a dog, and an anteater. I don't see any of these characteristics in his original design, so I decided to make him fit his description better. So for his body shape, I used reference of a macaque monkey. Is that how you say it? Macaque? I don't know. Then I gave him a dog snout and the ears and paws of an anteater. For a bit of flair, I also gave him these triangular patches of dark fur, which a lot of anteaters have. And I also emphasized his fur. I gave him some more fluff, so now he looks a bit more like what he's supposed to be, I think. Next is Horace. He's the straight man of the group, the leader, the level-headed one that keeps the other two in check. So, let's push his eyeballs back into his head, give him a normal-looking mouth, and spice up his outfit a bit. I'll give him a nice business-casual V-neck sweater, and I untucked it from his pants because only nerds tuck in their shirts. Don't argue with me. I also had to fix his hair a bit. I tried to make it look more like a barber gave him a fade rather than him doing it himself, because, come on, dude, that's gross. Last is Roba. He's anxious and high-strung. He talks in a robot voice, even though I don't think he's actually supposed to be a robot. I don't know what his deal is. So I decided to lean into the idea that he's a weirdo that dresses up like a robot. So I gave him an outfit that kind of implies that he used things around the house to dress up like a robot. So I put him in body armor with knee and elbow pads, and I gave him a wrestling helmet and goggles, and then I gave him a little voice changer device, which you can see by the microphone headset and a little box hooked onto his belt. Also, I don't know why in the original show his eyes are sideways, so I fixed them. I made them normal. And I know this show isn't normal, and it's not supposed to be normal, but at least with these designs, I kind of made them look less, Overall, the show is not horrible. I know I was just kind of roasting it for how it looks, but I did like the backgrounds, and it's not horribly written. It's not I don't hate myself for watching it. I don't feel miserable after watching it, but it's it's still not great. But people online say that it's the worst thing you've ever seen, and I'm like, you guys, you don't know anything. Come on. It is not the worst thing ever made. I guess a valid criticism would be that the pacing is really weird. It feels like halfway through the episode it should be over, but then it just keeps going. And then you're like, why is this still going? Why are things still happening now? And I didn't like Alfie. He's really annoying. His whole character is, I'm bored, I want pizza. And if you think that's funny, great, awesome, but I don't think it's funny. If you want to watch the show in any capacity, you should watch the Neon Gnome pilot. It's on YouTube for free. It feels more like an Adult Swim show, and it feels better for the art style that they're going for. It makes more sense, even though it makes less sense. If you've seen an Adult Swim show, you know what I mean. The Adult Swim style is much better suited for it than the ironed out kiddie version on Cartoon Network. Subject 2, Dirtgirlworld. Oh boy. Dirtgirlworld is a Canadian-Australian show about growing plants and taking care of the environment. I was really surprised to see that it ran for 52 episodes just based on how it looks. Premise-wise, it's not remarkable or offensive in any way. In fact, teaching kids about the environment is good. But look at this. Why did they do this? Why does it look like that? Why? Here, let me break this down a bit. The main characters have a 2D head, nose, and hair, but then they put these live action eyes and mouths on them, and the eyes are way too far apart, and their bodies are live action, so why bother animating it at all? You could just have it be live action, or you could animate all of it. It doesn't even be that advanced. It's not like the character designs are too complicated to animate. But this is what they did. This is what they went with, and I don't like it. It's really gross. For my redesign, I decided, obviously, that everything is going to be hand-drawn because then it's more cohesive and it looks less like a nightmare. First I did Dirtgirl's design. In concept, it's not actually bad. Aside from the horrific combination of techniques they used to make her, basically, I like her pigtails tied with string. I think that's really cute, and her overalls are cute. Her outfit's totally fine. She's got these little work gloves on and boots. Yeah, she looks how she's supposed to look for what they're going for. She's a gardener. She digs in the dirt. She's a dirt girl. Whatever. The only changes I made were I gave her eyes that were a normal distance apart, and they're a little bigger, so they're cuter, because big eyes equals cute. That's the main rule of cartoons. If you put big eyes on a character, make him cute. And then I also added some freckles to her face, and I gave her a bit of color, because come on, if she's gonna be a redhead, she should have freckles, and she should have a little bit of sunburn on her face, because she's outside all the time. And then I gave her a little gap in her teeth to give her a bit more character. And she's a kid. She doesn't have perfect teeth yet. Clearly they used an adult mouth in the original show because the teeth are perfect and straight. And that's just my speculation, but this is not a child's mouth. These are not child's teeth. So anyway, I hope that you think she looks less like a nightmare. Next is Scrap Boy, Dirtgirl's friend who collects trash and builds stuff out of it. His design is fine. Again, I don't have a problem with how he looks in concept. I have a problem with how he looks in execution. Look at this. So, I gave him a normal cartoon face. I gave him, big eyes, a nice, happy little mouth. He's both of them kind of look a little chibi, like anime chibi. They both look cuter. That was the main goal of this project. I used a softer brush for the line art for these characters to give them more of a crayon or colored pencil feel. I think that it makes it look like a kid's show, and it feels kind of softer and more inviting. And, I made sure to keep the color palettes nice and bright. Because again, kids show, they like bright colors. They need bright colors. And you're making a show about being outside in nature, so obviously. Anyway, so lastly, I designed the two main bug characters who, in the original show, look even worse than the kids somehow. They put a human head on a cartoon bug body, and they did this awful, gross makeup on both of them, and I hate it. I hate looking at it. So, here's how I redesigned them. Ken is a weevil and a stuntman. So again, conceptually, fine. He's got a little helmet. He's got elbow knee pads. That's fine. But why does he have a human head? An ugly adult human head. I hate it. Gross. So I redesigned his face to give him more of like a cartoon bug face. And I had to look at pictures of weevils, which was not fun, but necessary, because as he looks originally, he does not look like a weevil to me. So I gave him a little bug face, and I gave him a long snout, whatever that thing. I don't think it's a snout. It's some kind of long antenna thingy where a nose would be, with extra little antenna coming out the sides. And I think I made him look cuter. I don't think weevils are cute in real life. They're actually kind of disgusting, but hopefully I made him look cuter. That was the whole point. So for Grubby, she's a caterpillar. I don't know why she's called Grubby. That would imply that she's a grub, but she's a caterpillar. And she's yellow. So I decided to make her look more like an actual caterpillar from Australia. So I found reference for a Sparshali moth caterpillar. I don't know if that's how you say that, but it's a caterpillar native to Australia. And since this is an Australian show, it would make perfect sense. So yeah, I made her fuzzier. I gave her the patches of orange that the real life caterpillar has. I gave her a bunch of little legs, because the original design, she's really just a bunch of circles. Like, they didn't even try with her design. Yeah, I also gave her big cartoon eyes and some cute freckles, and as it turns out, it's not that hard to make these characters cute. I don't know why they did what they did. I guess it's unique. I've never seen a kids show that looks like this before, but I don't like it. Dirtgirlworld as a show is not bad. Now, I only watched one episode of this for research purposes, but I don't care. I don't want to watch an educational show for toddlers. So I only watched one episode of it, suing. But it's not a bad show. It has a good purpose. It has a reason to exist. And I think it would make kids want to be outside more, and that's kind of what we all want, right? Everyone needs to touch grass more, right? The only problem I have with it is that it looks the way that it does, and I don't know why they used... It must have been a lot of work to combine all of these animation techniques and live action. But it looks so bad. Why would they... I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these redesigns. I did enjoy drawing them because I like drawing cute things. Subject 3, Mega Babies. Okay, Mega Babies is nasty and unfunny, and I absolutely despised it. I watched a few episodes of it, and I could not believe how awful this thing was. It just was the most disgusting juvenile garbage I've ever seen. I've only ever seen criticism of this show, when I was doing mild research on it, but it ran for 5 seasons. They made 5 seasons of a show about babies that are mutants that fart and burp and sneeze boogers and poop in their diapers, and that's the whole show. And they made 5 seasons of it. I can't believe it still. While I was watching it, the whole time I was thinking 2 major thoughts. 1, this is disgusting. I hate this. 2, a show like this about mutant babies that fight monsters could only work for me personally if it was a Jonan Vasquez show. If it was something like Invader Zim. I don't believe that Jonan Vasquez would make this show. I don't want to disrespect him in any way by suggesting he would make this show. But I could only think about him while I was watching it, so I decided to redesign the main characters to be in the Jonan Vasquez style. I made some minor changes. I made Meg the girl baby, the girl who is pink because she's a girl. I made her skin green to match her green hair, because I think the pink and the green in the original show kind of looks kind of gross to me. I got rid of the snot hanging out of Derek's nose. He's the yellow baby, and he always has a snot hanging out of his nose. So I got rid of that because it's like, we don't need to see that all the time. Maybe for a joke, occasionally, it would be funny, but it's always there. And I'm always like, great, he's gonna sneeze boogers on people. I don't want to see that. So I got rid of that. Yeah, I didn't make many changes to Bucky, but I did, for the Jonan Vasquez style, it kind of gave him the spikier hair, because his hair in the original does kind of remind me of like Dib from Invader Zim. So that was the only change. And then for their clothes, all three of them, I gave them a little lightning insignia, because they're kind of a superhero team, and it calls back to how they got their powers, because in the show, they got their powers because they got struck by lightning. So I drew a poster reminiscent of Invader Zim, and it kind of mirrors the original poster for the original show, but with my redesigns, and I gave it more dramatic lighting. And I put lightning in the background. I made the letters bright pink. And I think, looking at it, I feel like I would actually watch this show. Like, I would at least try it out, just based on how the poster looks. But as it exists now, no. Subject 4, Angela Anaconda. I saw commercials for this growing up, and I never watched it because it looked really creepy. But when I actually watched episodes for this project, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's not a bad premise either. Angela Anaconda, she's like a mischievous tomboy, and she gets into hijinks. She butts heads with the popular girl. It features quirky narration and chaotic imagination sequences, and it's got this cutout animation style. They used real human hands and faces, which is the main problem with it, I think. The main reason why most people find it off-putting, including myself. Another confusing thing about it is that a lot of characters look like they're straight out of the 1960s. Like, for their teacher, it makes sense, but like, why are little kids also 60s styled? I don't know, because I don't think it takes place in the 60s. I don't think that was the intention. I mean, one character in an episode I watched even had a pager. Those didn't exist in the 60s, so I kind of leaned into the idea of it being set in the 90s for my redesign, because the show aired in 99, so I feel like they were probably still in that era of 90s style. The one design element I decided to keep was the fact that all the characters' skin are in gray tones, because I kind of think it makes it look unique. It kind of allows all the other colors to pop out as well. So for Angela Anaconda herself, she's supposed to be a tomboy, so I don't believe she would wear a dress all the time. Like, I guess she would if this was the 60s and she was supposed to wear a dress at school or something. But I got like a Scout from To Kill a Mockingbird vibe from her, so I decided to give her overalls instead. I put like a loose white shirt underneath it, and I kept her boots. She would definitely wear boots, I think, because she likes to, play around outside a lot and stuff. And I think her hair suits her, so I kept her hair the same, and I made her face more cartoony. For some reason, I decided not to put whites in the eyes of any of the characters. I kind of wanted to make it a bit more unique from my usual style. Another major change I did was she has these orange freckles. In the original design, I don't know why her face is grayscale and then she's got orange freckles. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, I made them dark gray instead, because her face is grayscale. It would make more sense that way. Next, I redesigned Angela's friend Gina Lash. I don't know if that name's supposed to be a pun, but whatever. She's the smart student in her class, and she's also fat. And eating and craving food is a far too common punchline in the show. I think that we need to stop with that. I know this came out in the 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s, but I am sick to death of this kind of character, the character who's fat, so their personality is food. And like, I guess they kind of did a good thing by also making her smart, and she like says little smart things every now and again, but do we have to make the fat character obsessed with food? No, we don't. For my redesign, I decided to keep her body shape, but put more emphasis on her intellect. And that's why I gave her a big stack of textbooks in her hands. I changed the frames of her glasses to look more 90s than 60s, gave her a bit of a kind of messy, kind of fluffy 90s haircut, and I gave her a dress that I think little kids would have worn in the 90s. Next character to redesign is Johnny Abadi, Angela and Gina's other friend. He's nice and relaxed and kind of goofy. I think that's what his character is. I made his outfit a bit more 90s too. I gave him a flannel shirt tucked into jeans under a sports jacket. And of course, you have to have a backwards baseball cap. I kept his swirly blue hair, and you got some blue hair coming out of the baseball cap. And I changed the shape of his head, because in the original, he's got like this big pear-shaped head with these like crazy sticky outy ears. And like with previous characters, I kept his color palette mostly the same. Yeah, I darkened his skin a little bit for variety's sake. And the last redesign is Nanette Manoir, who's the snobby rich popular girl in Angela's class, and the main antagonist of pretty much every single one of the episodes, and the subject of Angela's revenge imagination, revenge daydreams. Yeah, revenge daydreams. I guess you could call it that. She's a teacher's pet, a pretentious French culture enthusiast, and a ballet dancer. The main problem I have with her design is her face. I don't have a problem with all their faces, but her face, like she has this gaunt face with dimples that kind of deform all of it. So she looks very lumpy. Like the dimples should only appear when she smiles. So of course in my design of her, I have her smiling. She's got a dimple out. Because that's how they work. But I kept her hair. I think her hair's perfect, actually. The big, like, ringlet curls under the beret, I think that fits her character pretty well. I also changed up her outfit a bit. I gave her puffy sleeves to show her frivolity, and I changed her color scheme a bit because in the original, she kind of has a red, white, and blue, which are French colors, which makes sense, but it's a little too similar to the color scheme on Johnny's redesign, so I decided to make it different. And also, I didn't want to go for pink because Gina's already wearing pink. The colors that would fit her character would be like a soft lavender and a light yellow. I also lightened the blonde of her hair because in the actual show, her hair is like this eye-bleeding radioactive yellow that's really nasty looking. I don't like it. I know you're not supposed to like her, but there's no reason why you can't make the evil, bad character cute. And that's the whole point of her, is that she's cute. So she charms all the adults around her, and that's a lot of the reason why Angela hates her, because she's a teacher's pet, and she's always like, I'm perfect. And, you know, it makes sense. So she should be cute. Angela Anaconda as a show is not horrible. It's not that bad. I keep hesitating when I say it because I will never watch this show again. But, like, conceptually, it's not horrible. It's kind of like mean-spirited, but in a fun way, except it's a little racist.
I do not eat the food of dogs.
Oh no! The Eskimo babies have built an igloo out of you.
Okay, we stop. So assistant. And catch that.
When do we get to meet Astronaut Bob?
Later. Okay, we move. Now, move. Shift over. Okay, you on your own.
But it's not a horrible show, and I like the narration. I think it adds a little bit of a quirkiness to it. And also I feel like the vocabulary words they use are pretty advanced for the age demographic they're going for, and I think that's good. I remember growing up, SpongeBob had a lot of big words in it sometimes, and that always stuck with me. And it's good to expose your kids to some big words. It's not bad. I just wish it didn't look the way it did. So I feel like a lot of people find these shows to be the worst. Not everybody. I feel like every one of these shows has their haters and has their fans, but I feel like these shows in particular are like so infamous is because of how they look. And like, I agree, these shows are pretty ugly in a lot of different ways, but I have to give credit to them because they each tried something different, and the problem is that it didn't really come together for most people, especially when you're talking about something like Problem Solverz, where it's like weird and meandering and like random, but like I feel like that could work if it was, you know, not a show for children with a structure. So that's it. 4 ugly cartoons that I made cuter. Did I ruin them? Maybe. I mean, maybe they were all intended to be ugly and off-putting, but I like to draw cute things. I will not apologize for that. I think calling any of these shows the worst would be an exaggeration, except Mega Babies. It is the worst. Don't watch it.